Of course, as a Secretary General of the Nordic Council of Ministers, I hope for and really expect a good, strong result. Also here at Cop28, a lot of people have been working very hard. I am not at the negotiating table, but of course following it very close. And yes, the days to begin with were quite good with the loss and damage fund, but still there's a lot of more work to be done. Of course there is. I mean, we have a global crisis, and the response to that has several cross-sectoral answers and obligations. And well, for instance, yesterday when food was finally on the agenda, that's very positive. And of course, food is there to stay. We cannot phase out food because it's essential. So of course, that's important that we keep all the relevant topics at the table ongoing. And of course, it's difficult, but there are no options than to keep on working. Normally I would be very optimistic, but what's the alternative than being optimistic? So of course I need to be optimistic, and of course I need to know that there is progress, because talking to people, listening to people, getting to meet everyone here at COP and eye to eye, that gives me some kind of hope, because I think people are actually trying and are actually working hard. Nordic citizens living in the cold north, of course our climate footprint is also way too large, and that's why all the Nordic governments are very ambitious in setting very specific targets and investing lots of public funding in this transformation in science and technology, and doing that in a very close cooperation with private sector as well. So this important triangle between politicians, science and private sector is what's actually bringing results. So we are doing a lot. We have very high ambitious targets, but we're actually implementing them in various types of legislation. And of course, 3 of the Nordic countries are also part of the EU, so in the whole EU context, that continues there as well. The Nordic Council of Ministers are 5 nations, but 8 countries, because it's Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, and then also Greenland, Faroe Islands, and Åland. Those are self-ruling areas. But what I can tell you is, for instance, having this very strong cooperation that we do have between the countries. For instance, on clean energy, on electricity, we have established a Nordic electricity market, meaning that we can fully supply each other with green electricity. Because in Norway the water is running and we get hydropower, the wind is blowing in Denmark, and vice versa. We can support each other, making sure that we have clean energy. Well, having had a Nordic Council of Ministers pavilion here at Cop28, of course gives us this platform and this arena to make sure that people can meet, people can talk, people can discuss, people can disagree, but also get knowledge, get to know the best practices, get inspired. And we have had more than 70, not 17, but 70 different arrangements on a huge variety of topics. And that's needed, because dealing with climate change needs so many different stakeholders, and it's so cross-sectoral. So that's what we are actually trying to showcase. And I think, I'm quite positive in that respect, because we've had so many visitors, so many activities. So I think the words and the knowledge is being shared and being spread. I would say that one of our top activities would be presenting the Nordic nutrition recommendations that are, of course, done with and for the Nordic states and also the Baltic states. But this is actually a really heavy scientific report, making sure that each and every country can make this change in the whole food supply system, making sure, of course, that food is healthy for you, but also healthy for the planet.